Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Amanda Richardson.
You're listening to The Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
Hey Amanda, how's it going?
Hi, how's it going, everyone?
We're good.
Doing good. So let's get this show started. So tell us a little bit about you, kind of like what do you do?
What don't I do is probably a better question. First and foremost, I am a mom and wife, and those are my favorite, most best jobs. I love that so much. We have two little boys. My husband, Dave, and I have a real estate team, the Amanda Richardson Team. I guess he gives me all the credit, but it really is a combined effort. And we have two little boys, Cameron and Carson. Well, I guess I shouldn't say little. One just graduated high school, so he's 18. He's not super little, but we have two boys together, and we're the chaos coordinators for this family and the head of the Amanda Richardson Team.
I like it. That's awesome. So when you were younger, was this what you had planned for your future, or what'd you have planned?
You know what? I had two completely different dreams, and they actually don't even coincide at all, which is funny. I wanted to be a mom and a wife, which was amazing and everything that I ever expected it to be. But then I also wanted to be like a CIA agent, which clearly isn't like mom and wife like at the same time.
We never know.
But other than that, right. Yeah, I guess you never know. Right. But I always knew that I wanted to have a family and to be a mom, and it's everything I expected it to be.
That's awesome.
So when you first got started, I know you said you wanted to be a CIA agent, but you are now a realtor. So how did you kind of go down that path? How did you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, well, having kids kind of changes things up for you. I think that was my childhood dream. And then you realize how not practical any of that is with all of your other dreams. And it was actually a counselor in college. I was still doing like criminal justice and things like that. And she's like, you're probably going to want to be home on Christmas with your kids. And I remember thinking like, how dare her? Men do it. Like, you're young, you're 19 and you're like, how dare her? Now I'm like, I don't want to work Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, their birthdays. I'm like, I totally understand what she's saying.
Yep.
So my husband and I met in the restaurant industry. I got into that for a little bit, complete change of pace. Yeah. And that's where we met.
Okay.
That's
awesome.
And
you guys, when you both started, did you start up together as agents?
We did not.
Okay.
No, we did not. So I've been doing this almost 14 years now. Wow. And he just joined my team 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's probably why it's still the Amanda Richardson Team. But he stayed in the restaurant industry, and it just got to the point, that's a lot of nights and weekends and holidays, and not only, the time away from our family, but also like real estate related. I'm trying to be a mom, and we have very, very active boys. Somebody asked if they want to do it. They're the first ones to raise their hands. So they require quite a bit. And it just made sense for our family. We felt like we could take better care of our clients by two of us tag teaming both our home commitments and then also our work commitments. And it's been great.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys go to like the showings together, or kind of who does what roles?
No, we kind of divide and conquer.
Okay.
We divide and conquer. Sometimes we'll go to showings together if we happen to be out that way. I mean, our clients they really become part of our family as well. I can't tell you the amount of times that we've ran out and somebody's like, I want to see a house. And we're like, okay, we're out that way for a soccer tournament. Hope you don't mind, our children in the car and maybe a couple extra. So with the exception of a rare case like that, I do most of the listing side and he does most of the buyer side.
Okay, awesome. Nice. I know when you first started too, did you get any advice? I don't know if you started on a team or not, or if you started solo, but did you get any advice?
I did not start on a team. Okay. So funny story. I'd never even lived in a house when I started real estate. Like I literally knew nothing about anything. I thought I was going to be like Vanna White showing pretty homes to people. I didn't realize the complexity of it. It took maybe like 2 weeks to be like, oh, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was. And then I was just gung-ho about getting all of the education and training that I could. I realized, but when I first got into it, my intention was really more to just kind of show pretty properties.
Yeah.
So I got lots of advice.
Okay.
it's kind of like parenting where everybody has a whole lot of advice, but you just really have to go with your gut. I have completely centered. I've done a team, I've ran a team, I've been a new member on a team, I've done solo. I've done it all. And I think you just have to find something that fits best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, we are mostly referral based. We have a great following. Our clients, they're so great to us, and they send us their friends and their neighbors. So we do things a little bit differently. We spend a lot of time going to their children's events or birthday parties or weddings or things like that. So my advice to new people would be to find out what you do great at. Ours is relationships. We're great at relationship building, and then follow your heart and work hard.
Awesome. Take us to your first listing. How did that go? Since you
Oh,
didn't
my
live in a
first
home at the
listing.
time. Yeah.
Thankfully, it was a family member
Okay.
who had been through the process before. I got licensed in 2007. So we all know what happened shortly after that.
Yep.
Listings were a lot easier to come by. It was buyers. Nobody wanted to buy anything. You can have listings all day long. Most of them were foreclosures or things like that. But my very first listing was actually my cousin, or I call her my aunt because she's older than most of the cousins. But it was a little house in Westland, and
Huh.
she was ready to move up, and it wasn't the best market for her. But we were able to find a buyer and come up with terms that just worked perfectly for both of them.
That's awesome. Good for you.
What is the worst property you've been to? We're kind of switching the questions up.
Yeah. Okay. So being pregnant, selling foreclosures is awful. I can't tell you how many times I had to step outside because of smells, or
Yeah.
like I had
Wow.
clients that were like, well, if Amanda doesn't gag and have to step outside, it's a contender, because there's just so many awful smells or things left in properties that are pretty gross anyway, but throw in like the nausea from pregnancy. So it was really hard to narrow it down. I'm going to say showing homes pregnant during the foreclosure market.
Yeah, I could only imagine what you might be walking into on some of those.
Oh, terrible. And I
Yeah.
already am like sensitive with my nose, but those are good times. They were fun, especially now that they're over.
Yep, for sure.
I know you have a busy home life and you and your husband have been on the same team for a couple of years now. Do you guys have any personal or business related goals for the next year you want to accomplish?
Yeah. So right now we are our personal goals. It really started kind of my son's freshman year. We realized how fast they get big.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, our son graduated, our oldest graduated this year. We're thankful for every minute we have with him. So we are really just trying to focus a lot on spending as much time with our kids. And of course, real estate is, a huge pathway to do that. And we're so blessed that we have so many referral clients that we don't have to be in the office like grinding every day, and we get to go golfing at noon on a Tuesday with our children. But this year we're pretty focused on our boys.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
How old is your youngest? Is he going to be
Our youngest
graduating?
is 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he's got
yeah,
some years then. Some.
he does, which
Yeah.
is nice. It's a nice contrast because you see how fast it goes. And we have
Yep.
one that we're enjoying as an adult. Like we got to go take him to the casino in Mount Pleasant for his 18th birthday, some fun things like that. But then you still have the one that'll cuddle up with a book and lay in
Yeah.
your lap with you.
Nice. If there's anything you could do differently from when you first started, what would that be? Would you do anything different, or would you kind of go the same path?
Oh, I think you know what? Every part of everything I did, there were a lot of grueling hours, a lot of mistakes, and wished I would have done things differently. But I really think that's helped make me into the realtor and the mom and wife that I
Mm-hmm.
am today. I'm not big on regrets. I think I would have, if anything, realized when I first started, we it wasn't an industry of collaboration back then. It was very secretive. Your other realtors were not telling you what to do to be successful. They were
Yeah.
like hiding stuff in trash cans and like figure it out on your own. You were competitors. And I was always of a mindset of raising the bar in the industry. You know what? They didn't choose me as a realtor, they chose someone else. But let's help this person. I've always been a fan of helping agents, on the other side, or other agents in my office that call me. So I think if anything, I would just realize, like, tell myself back then that eventually that's going to be normal in our industry. Because I was by far, I was very different with my willingness and eagerness to help, technically competitors.
Yeah, and you know how it is. I mean, jumping into it, not much. I mean, the classes that you take don't prepare you for the actual transactions ahead. So
Nothing.
yeah.
They did nothing, like, at all. They
Yeah.
don't tell you anything. And like
Yeah.
I said, I'd never even lived in a home. I grew up, and that's part of my story as well. I grew up pretty rough, and that's my why, is helping people have the home, that I never had as a child. Um, but I knew nothing, absolutely
Yeah.
nothing. And my first broker, he's so amazing. I'm dear friends. He's like, absolutely, let me know if you have any questions. I was so new. I didn't even know what questions to ask. I was like,
Right?
okay.
Yeah.
And Google wasn't even really a thing back then to Google what questions to ask your first broker.
Yeah, for sure. But everything is a learning experience. So even if you had
It
a rough
is.
patch in the beginning, you're going to learn from it, along with
Yep.
everybody else who's starting out as well. So
Yes, stay with it. If you love it, I think my biggest secret is I never did it for money. I didn't even actually realize, like, how big it could be.
mhm.
Like I said, I thought it was going to be Vanna White at first. But if you love it and it's not just for the money, and I guess maybe if it is for the money, if you truly love it, stay with it. It can be hard at first, 13, 14 years in, some days are really hard here too, but I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah, over the last year, I know when everything was shut down for a while, you couldn't show homes. Is there
Right.
anything that changed in your business during that time that really just kind of changed your path, or anything that you were
Yeah.
doing?
So we tend to be a little listing heavy.
Okay.
Just we get a lot of listings, not we're probably 65-35. So that was obviously a lot easier for us during the pandemic. We had sellers who would be willing to do like Zoom or FaceTime showings. So we actually sold like 4 or 5 homes during the
Wow.
full-fledged lockdown
Wow, good
pandemic.
for you guys. That's
And we
awesome.
are, yeah, I know. It was so funny. Our clients, I'm like, guys, we can wait a couple of weeks, and they're like, no, let's do it. I'm like, well, we better figure this out. So I think you learn to get on your toes, and that's nothing. Nobody saw a pandemic coming, right? Like, of
Right.
all the things we see and we talk about in our industry, a global pandemic where real estate isn't considered essential was not, that was not one of them. But we stayed on our toes, and we actually did really well. 2020 was not a bad year for us, like it was for, some people.
Yeah.
Personally, we're on the go. We didn't really like staying in, but we did well real estate wise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome.
Congratulations on that. I know some people really, it hurt a lot of businesses. So that's awesome that you guys were able to keep doing good
Yeah,
in that
and we
time.
are huge. If anybody listening knows, my husband and I, we're huge advocates of small businesses. We support them. We spend all of our dollars there first. Big advocates. And this was really hard on a lot of local, especially restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's from our past ties that we tend to be a lot more tuned into the restaurant industry. But yeah, and there's still restaurants hurting. So, or in all businesses actually
Yeah.
still hurting. So thankfully we're not one of them. And
Yeah.
we're still able to support both, with donations and plugins and things like that, and in our own dollars, some of these small businesses.
Awesome. Okay. Well, before we go today, is there anything else you want to share with everybody, or maybe your contact information would be helpful as well?
Sure, we can be reached at our website is athomewithamanda.com, just the way that it sounds. At home with Amanda, pretty easy to spell.
Yeah.
And then calling or texting my cell phone number is pretty easy. I'm pretty responsive. My cell phone is 734-323-2140.
Awesome. I like it. Hey, thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Are these working?
All right. Is there
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like,
It might be there
might be right there too,
somewhere.
somewhere.
Find it. It's red.
Yeah, and it's
Red.
blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess,
I wonder if they can hear us.
yeah, I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them, if they can hear us, we should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they're listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars, review. Guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take 4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
I don't think this is working.
This is not working.